Hello YouTube, this is NHRA 1975. So I'm pretty close to wrapping up the electrical system redo here, but I thought I'd just do a little video on the installation of the Hayden 3653 fan on the Ford Windstar fan. So the Hayden, the parts I'm using here are basically, it's the Hayden 3653 and the Pico 921-11 relay, which is an 80-60 amp relay. The Pico relay is a Canadian product, so you may or may not be able to get that in the States, but I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty easy to find an 80 or 60 amp relay. I was considering going to the junkyard and looking through Cadillacs and kind of luxury vehicles, trying to find a relay that would be 80 or 60 amp and pay whatever, $3. But this Pico one was only $10, so you're way better off. I didn't realize they were that inexpensive, and I'm sure you could find this type of relay in the world. The fan controller, which is a thermostatic fan controller, which means it uses this bimetal probe. When that bimetal probe reaches a certain temperature, it grounds the circuit and sends a signal to this, which is the Hayden 3653 controller, and then to something else. But anyways, it controls the fan through thermostatic, so your fan will turn on and off at certain operating temperatures. The Hayden 63 is known as an inexpensive unit, but durable. It's not a digitally controlled unit. So a lot of the digital ones, in fact, I had a Durali one, it burnt up. Whether or not it was something else, I can't tell you for sure, but I know through some message board areas that these the 3653 is a stout unit. So anyways, I'll just quickly go through the wiring on this. So this is the relay I put down here. See if I can get it for you. You can kind of make it out. Unfortunately, this relay does not have a tab on it, so I had to use a hose clamp and some rubber, but it's on there. It's on there pretty, very sturdily. I was able to use those two holes, existing holes, and yeah, that's a better shot of it. So that is the relay that powers the 60 amp relay, which will obviously reduce the load a lot on your switches and everything else. This is the relay wiring. So the 86 spade goes to your switch 12 volt, which in my case is my ignition switch on my wiring board. I'll show you that. The fan is the 87, so that obviously you need a little heavier gauge, 10 gauge. The battery is right from the battery itself, which for me is this. Well, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's that post there. So that's direct. That's the direct battery connection. And then lastly, you have your 85 on the relay, which is a thermo switch. Now, the thermo switch wiring on these Haydens, what you got to do to run it off the relay, one has to be a ground. So I'm running the ground here from the Hayden. This is also the fan ground, but that's the ground. And then obviously one goes to the 85 spade. And on the Hayden unit itself, that front one there, the one closest to me, is the one that's the ground. So remember that, because if those are sensitive, so if you do reverse them, what will happen is you flick the switch, the fan, if the switch in the cab isn't even on, the fan will go on. So make sure you do that properly. But other than that, it's fairly straightforward. It just takes a while organizing everything. But this fan puts out a lot of air. So let me just show you the operating of the fan here. So this switch here, ignition, is meant for the that kind of turns on. That's like your switched ignition off of that. That no longer functions because everything's coming off of this wiring board. So that That's it there. So let's just flick the switch and see the fan blast. So as you can tell, this fan produces quite a bit of air, and it just switched off there because probably it's colder. Yeah, it's, see, and then with the temperature gun here, it's down to 150, so that's below. But let's just put it down. Let's switch it up a bit here. There you go. That's the dial. It's actually working well because, as you can tell, I put it at, it's only supposed to go on at 160, but when I turn that switch, it goes on full time. I turn it a little more, it turns off. And clockwise increases, so let's go clock. There you go. So now, as we can tell, temperature probe is 100 around the water, temperature probe is 149, 150, so the fan will only go on at 160. So, as you can tell, the fan's pretty powerful. It's got some juice. And then on the other side, I'll just carry on with the. I'll go off the Hayden fan tutorial here. So the other fan, I'm just simply going to go off just a switch and a relay. So I've set up the wiring. I'll put the other Pico relay in there, and that's it really, and I've done a lot of the wiring to it, so whenever the Pico relay arrives, I will finish up this, and then this one will operate separately. So my hope is the big fan will cool it down a lot, and the large fan and the secondary fan I'll put on when it's needed. Other than that, remove the intake manifold. That is off. So when I removed it, I found that this railing, I don't think I put enough RTV on it. It was too thin, so I'm going to have to put more RTV here. And there was some leak. Like these ports here, commonly on big block Chevys, they tend to have some kind of water coming out of them. I've read online a lot. So I went and bought a very good gasket, Felpro Printo seal one, and I'm hoping that does the job. I don't have to worry about it, but there you go. Also, I don't know if you can tell, none of the cam lobes are white. That's a flat type of cam. The cam lobes are all nice and sharp. They have them ground down. So the braking procedure worked, and everything I did to reduce the chance of cam failure has been a success. Okay, guys. Hopefully that helps people out, and that's it for now.